Being a school counselor is one of the most rewarding careers that you'll ever have in education. So if you're thinking about being a school counselor, watch this video. I'm going to talk about some of the great moments, and then I'm going to talk about some of the things that are struggles, and I'm going to give you strategies on how to overcome those. So I don't want to start with the negative first, but I will in this instance. We have such a great need on our campuses for mental health support. ASCA recommends a ratio of 1 counselor for every 250 students, but realistically, that doesn't happen most times. I have 420 plus students on my caseload alone, and although I know all of my students, I built great relationships with them to where I can identify them, I know all of their names, there are so many needs. Throughout my day, I am very strategic with how I plan out my day. When I first get to school, when I sit down in my office before I start my day, I create like a to-do list of all the major things that I need to get done for the day and all the students that I need to check in with. And you wouldn't believe how many times I have like my list is really long of students I got to check in with. I need to prioritize who are the students that I need to check in with first. And there's just not enough of me to go around to meet the needs of all these students. So of course we talk about the tier 1 support. We do classroom counseling lessons. We go in and we teach classroom guidance. And if you're an elementary school counselor, most times you teach these lessons. But for me, as a middle school counselor, I create the lessons and the teachers facilitate them every week. And we have advisory periods. So on a Tuesday and a Wednesday, it's a 45-minute block where we do those character ed lessons and academic advisories and things like that. And it's not enough time. We teach those life skills throughout those lessons. For example, today during advisory, we did empathy, bullying, and how to be kind and use tactful language and be respectful of other people. It's a great opportunity to make those touch points with students so they can teach those character development lessons so they can be successful during their life. But it's just not enough. So that's just tier 1. You move on to tier 2 where you have the small group lessons, and tier 3 where it's the extra layers of support, like the referrals for the mental health or outside agencies. And again, there are so many students on your caseload to where you're not able most times to meet the needs of all of those students. One thing that I'm trying to do this year and be better at is doing minute meetings. If you've never heard of minute meetings, it's really where you call your students in one by one and you have like a quick conversation with them. Most times they take longer than a minute, but you're asking some simple questions to get to know them better, see what they need help with, and see how you can support them. One of the most important questions that I ask my students is at the end, I ask them, do you have a trusted adult on campus that you can talk to when you're having a bad day? And of course, I want them to identify me as that support, but if they don't, I don't get upset as long as they have another staff member on campus that they can go to. But anyway, I say all of that to say, even if you do minute meetings for all 420 plus students on your caseload or however many that you're working with, you're still not able to meet all of those needs. I have students who come in my office to do drop-ins, and I do individual counseling sessions with them. I do peer conflict groups, like where I do restorative circles when they're having arguments. And my day could be consumed with all of those things, and I still sometimes don't feel like I'm doing everything that I can to meet the needs of my students, just because there's so many. But one thing that I've noticed about being a school counselor, and one thing that helps me, is when I feel overwhelmed with all the things that I have to get done throughout the day, through my district level responsibilities, all the deadlines that I have to get done, all the students that I have to meet, sometimes it can be overwhelming. And so one thing that helps me is sometimes I just stop what I'm doing, step away from my desk, and go walk around the school and go visit a classroom and just watch students do what they're doing in class. Like, I love visiting the art classes, and I'll go walk around and I'll have them explain their artwork to me or explain the process or just watch them draw. And then sometimes I'll draw with them. These are things that help me to get myself back together. Sometimes I'll take my work outside and I'll go sit outside in the sunshine and get some fresh air and work outside. But these are things that help me. You have to do what you can do to take care of yourself because, again, there's so many needs on our campus and there's not enough of us. We were in our leadership team meeting today, the admin, the assistant principals, and the counselors. And my associate principal at the end of the meeting asked us if there's anything that we needed. And I jokingly said, I need a Tesla robot, a duplicate of me, so that it can help me do some of the things that I need to get done. And we all laughed, but it's the truth. There is not enough of us to meet the needs of our students. Our students are struggling with anxiety, depression, other mental health disorders, family issues, peer conflict. There's so many things that are going on that we need help with, that they need help with. And you may feel like I feel sometimes, where there's just not enough of you to go around. All you can do is the best that you're doing right now. And so I create those systems of support. I send out those tier 1 lessons so that teachers can help. I reinforce those lessons. And I have to remind myself, honestly, that I am doing all that I can as being one person. And those moments where students come up to me and where they ask for my help without me having to seek them out, or those times when I can go by and I check on a student, they'll tell me, hey, Mr. Burnett, you know that strategy you taught me last week? That works. Like literally, I was in lunch today and a student came up to me and she said, you remember how I get distracted in class and you told me some of the things that I can do to refocus myself? Well, I tried that strategy and this is what happened and it worked. And she was so happy and I was so proud of her. And it's things like that where you feel like I'm doing all that I can and I don't know if I'm making a difference. When a student can come up to you and say, hey, Mr. Burnett, or hey, Miss So-and-so, I tried what you mentioned and it really worked. And I'm really excited and I feel better. Those are the things that make the day better. Those are the things that make this profession worthwhile. And when you have those hard days, you can reflect back on how you supported students in these ways. And again, I don't know if you feel like I do, where it can sometimes be overwhelming being a school counselor because there's so many things that you have to do, so many constant fires that you're putting out. But just know that you are doing the best that you can. Your presence is helpful to someone else. You are making a positive impact and a difference on your campus, on your students, on your staff, and all the people that you support in your community. So give yourself grace. Just know that you are doing the best that you can. There are times when you don't have all the resources or all the support that you need, sometimes from your own school leaders or your own teachers or staff, but just continue doing what you can. I would love to hear more of your positive stories. If you can comment below and tell me something that went well for you today, or something that you're struggling with that you want me to make a video on. And I'm going to create some more videos about the just simple things that go on throughout my day, like when students come to see me and how I support them. In fact, I'm going to start doing more videos where I talk about the day-to-day life of a school counselor, because I want you to get the real of this so you can make an informed decision about if this is what you want to do with your life. But I can guarantee you that being a school counselor is one of the best professions, one of the best careers that I've ever had. And I've worked in many roles in education. I've been a teacher. I've been an assistant principal. I've worked in elementary school as a counselor. I've been a middle school counselor, and nothing compares. I love middle school. Wouldn't trade it for nothing in the world. I always tell people you have to have a special heart to be a middle school counselor or an educator in general. But stay tuned. I hope that you come back. And again, I want to hear more about something that went well on your campus or throughout your day. Remember that you're amazing, you're doing great things, and you are making a difference in someone's life. Sometimes you may not see it right away. There are times when students will come back to me years later and they'll tell me about the impact that I made in their life. So keep doing what you're doing.